You're tuned in to Shake, Rattle, and Goal, the official podcast of your Springfield Thunderbirds.
Pekka's there on the backhand, scoring the save, rebound in the crease, they score!
Hosted by Matt Baker and Steve Forney. A show that's everything Springfield hockey, with interviews including players, coaches, and staff.
The Springfield Indians repeat as the Calder Cup champions.
Listen to this podcast on all major streaming platforms and wherever you download podcasts.
In his first year at the helm, Kevin McDonald and Drew Bannister have the Teamers in the Calder Cup Finals.
Watch the podcast on the official Shake, Rattle, and Goal YouTube page at SRG Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker and Steve Forney. And this episode number 23 of Season 3 of the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast is proudly brought to you by our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning in Amherst. They're at tdsspeech.com. By the fine folks at MassCon United Training Center in Agawam at mcutrainingcenter.com. And, of course, by Landscaping That Fits, FITZ.com. Alongside Matt Baker, I am Steve Forney. Matt, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. How about you?
Good. We are surviving. We have made it this far.
Yep.
So we do have a lot of stuff that we want to get to today on the show. I'm going to kind of start, though, someplace we don't typically start. Tonight is kind of a big game here against Providence. Obviously, we have points on the line that are critical for us. Providence, in general, might not need much motivation. However, I think they kind of do. If you're a Bruins fan, tomorrow night's a big night as James Hagens will make his pro debut for the Providence Bruins. A lot of people think he should be up in Boston, but he's going to start down here. I do imagine we're going to see a lot of black and gold in the stands tomorrow night, and that's all well and good. I'm excited to see James Hagens. Last time this happened was Charlie McAvoy in 2017. A pretty much almost carbon copy, the exact same situation, Bruins fans. So if that's what you're looking for, that literally has happened. But I want to talk about on our side of things.
Yep.
And I see these, I don't watch college hockey. I see these names go back and forth. Some of them I know, some of them I don't. And I didn't really know much at all about Felix Trudeau. So I obviously did a little bit of homework. This guy was one of the 10 finalists for the Hobey Baker this season. He was top 5 in goals in the entire country. He is 6'2", so he's a big kid. And from all the things that I've heard, all the reviews that I've heard are just glowing about this kid. One of my good friends who I've worked in the business with was texting me and saying just all kinds of, like, this kid's going to be a rock star. He's going to make it to the pros. He's got grit. He can score. He can, smash. He said all he does is talk smack, check guys into the boards and score. I'm like, okay, perfect. Put that right in the Steve Ott pipeline. You know what I'm saying? So I think this has the potential to be a kind of a home run signing here for Springfield and Felix Trudeau.
Absolutely. And I'm with you, not knowing much about him prior to this morning. We're recording on Tuesday night, but spent his first 2 years at the University of Maine, played a good amount as a freshman, 28 games, 24 games as a sophomore. Not super productive on the box score, but again, as a freshman at UMaine in 28 games was a +2. As a sophomore in 24 games, a +1. And then he transfers over to Sacred Heart as a junior and a senior. And again, just kind of looking at the box scores all over the place. Played 39 games each season, 15 goals as a junior, 23 assists, total of 38 points as a senior. And you're right, a Hobey Baker finalist this year as a senior, 25 goals, 23 assists for 48 points. So that's over a point per game. More importantly, in my opinion, a +14. So playing really sound hockey for Sacred Heart. And I agree with you. I think, look, if this is a call up under earlier in the year, maybe I'm not as optimistic as development wise, but I have no reason right now. I mean, we're seeing our young guys in front of our eyes. Theo Lindstein develop, play better, be put in situations to succeed. So that's what I expect to happen here for Felix Trudeau. And I'm with you. You want to talk, you want to smack some guys into the boards, and you want to score some goals, sign me up for this kid all day.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about the veteran presence, particularly in the forward group. This is again one of those guys you're going to throw in the mix with your Pekarczyks and your Stützles, but at some point he's going to be playing alongside some pretty veteran guys who have had a lot of experience playing pro hockey. So, I don't think we've seen these guys. We've seen Anton Malmstrom come from Bowling Green. Okay, this is a legit, and I got to be honest, with all due respect to Sacred Heart, I didn't realize that Sacred Heart was developing these kind of prospects. And quite honestly, when you're playing in a state that's as college hockey driven as Massachusetts is, with BU and BC and Northeastern, the Bean Pot, Harvard, all that, to be at a school like Sacred Heart and be able to put up those kind of numbers. And, oh, by the way, also have the team with a winning record and making the playoffs. That's pretty awesome. And look, I get it. It's not Hockey East. All right. They're playing Mercyhurst. Okay. So they're not exactly going out there against Michigan and Minnesota Duluth every night. I get that. So there is going to be a bit of adjustment for him, but to be able to throw a team on your back, like it appears he did with Sacred Heart, and not only get him a winning record, but put him in the playoffs, that says something about the player. So
yeah,
I saw a couple of, went down the rabbit hole of watching some of his highlights, and just the shot alone is just a freaking missile. Like, it's like if you leave him alone on the power play, kind of like what Pasternak does on the power play, where if you kind of, Ovechkin, like you give him space at the circle, one timer, good luck to you. So this has a lot of potential here, and I'm really intrigued by this player and by this signing. And oh, by the way, he was an undrafted free agent, so he could go anywhere he wanted, and he chose St. Louis and Springfield. So that's great news for us.
Yeah. I mean, stays local to where he was playing hockey, and so like I said, I'm with you. I feel like, and we've let it simmer now, a few of the trades that have been made as of late, but when you think about it, it's all right. You get a Julien Gauthier, you get Wyatt Newpower, you get a Felix Trudeau, and you're like, okay, all right, like this team absolutely is 100% still competing, still getting better. Maybe can backdoor into the playoff, and then, but the overall, the prognosis, the feel for moving forward, it's all good. There's little risk, no reward. You're not sending anybody down to bring this guy in. And if he can develop into, a top 6 guy in the AHL, cool.
Now, is he going to play Wednesday night? I'm not sure. I do know that Hagens will be playing because, again, Boston and Providence have 1,000 beat writers and guys that are in it. And unfortunately, Springfield and St. Louis just don't have media that dedicated outside of Mike Meyer and Lou Korak and Jeremy Rutherford and us. There's really not a lot there. So we don't know if he's actually going to dress Wednesday night against Providence. But, I went to the AHL.com, check out the rosters. He is not on the Springfield Thunderbirds roster, but James Hagen's also not on Providence's roster, according to the league website. So, take that for what it's worth. But I think getting him in the sooner the better would be awesome. And I love this. And, to sort of move on to the next sort of layer of this, you talked about all the trades and stuff. And one of the things that I'm starting to notice, particularly in the games over the weekend, is it's like this chemistry that is developing amongst guys that are relatively new, like Bordeleau and Akil Thomas. Yeah. And, they're Julien Gauthier and Hugh McGing. Like, if there's something there, like all these moves and all these adjustments that they've had to make, it seems like they're finally starting to find a nice combination, a nice gel of the old regime, which there's some still left, and these new guys that they've traded for. They're all kind of starting to culminate into a successful little team here, especially in the game against Belleville.
Yeah. So you want to let's hop into the games.
Yeah.
Let's recap a little bit. Friday night, was it Friday night with Laval? Yep. So Friday night, I thought they started off well. It was good to see Hunter Skinner light the lamp early. Unfortunately, that was kind of it for the Thunderbirds offensively. I know everybody's kind of talking about the Kale Kessie kind of fight. No, I'll give him. I actually think he got smoked on it, but he hung in there. He took a few good shots, and that one big shot, that one right, I think was a right hand, that kind of put him out. But he hung in there. Tough game. I mean, Laval's a good team, and I think we play them well. We play them well at home, and I've always said this. I feel like ever since that Calder Cup run, I want to see more of Laval, because I always think there's fireworks, and I wish there was more than just a Kale Kessie who can go in there with the heavyweights and smash a little bit. So I feel like that's sort of where we get sort of exposed a little bit against Laval. But I didn't think it was a horrible game. We outshoot them. We go 0 for 4 on a power play, I believe. So, the chances were there. You outshoot them. 0 for 4 on a power play. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't. But I will say, I at least my feel, you might feel differently. I don't know. My feel was it wasn't one of those we don't even belong here kind of losses. Sure, it ended up 4-1. 2 goals, kind of spread apart in the third, kind of did us in. But I didn't feel like we didn't belong on the ice. Does that make sense?
Oh, sure, for sure.
So,
and it's amazing that the score sheet, the box score shows 0 for 4 and 1 for 4, 8 power plays during the game. I felt like all game everyone was going to the box.
Yeah.
Because you did you had matching roughings, you had matching fightings, you had Bordelot got called for a tripping, and Sammy Blais got called for roughing on the same play, so they canceled each other out. So I just felt like they were sort of undisciplined. And when you look at the penalties, it's Burns for slashing, Burns for fighting, but Gauthier for hooking, Bordelot for tripping. Those are penalties that if you're skating and you're moving your feet and you're playing the right way, you're not committing those. So I do think they need to clean that up a little bit. I will say it wasn't his best game, but I'm really, really liking what I'm seeing from Quentin Burns. And this is a kid that, much like one thing we didn't bring up with Trudeau was the penalties. I think he had like 85 penalty minutes last year, like 36 games. Like that's like kind of too much. And the same reputation was with Quentin Burns, but I feel like he's been relatively disciplined since he's gotten here. So obviously a tough penalty in this one, which was a slash, which, again, those are the penalties you're trying to avoid, but it just felt like they were going to the box like all night long. But I do want to, I give Thomas Bordelot, Bordelot gets a matching roughing penalty against Reinbacher. I loved that from him. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a guy who's like, he's undersized, and I don't think the physicality is necessarily his game. But you know what? A guy like Reinbacher, who, by the way, I love that guy, Reinbacher. I want him on my team. He was a real pleasure to watch in that game. That guy can freaking play. Mm-hmm. But he sticks up for himself, sticks up for his teammates. I love that about Bordelot. I did not have that on my bingo card, as the kids say. Yeah. So, I do. I think there was some bright spots. There was some positive things to take out of that game. Again, you didn't get blown out in the shots. You kind of played your game, and then, like you said, they were able to play their game and then still be in the game and compete. The one thing that drives me nuts, and this is nothing against the league or anything like that, but man, every time you're in Montreal, every time you're in Quebec, and you get referees with names that have silent letters, yeah, you just know that, like, and I give them credit. They were calling penalties on Laval too, but there was a couple of plays. I think one of them was a tripping where the guy went down like a sack of potatoes, and there was one that was a slash, and the guy just dropped his stick as the slash was coming down, and boom, 2 for slashing. It's like, dude, are we playing hockey or are we playing for Manchester United, dude? Like, can we play the game without this kind of tomfoolery? So I don't necessarily put that as much on the refs as I do Laval playing that game. Yeah. It's amazing a team can be so tough and physical and hard to play against, and yet they do stuff like that. Like, that's the stuff to me that kind of rubs me the wrong way. But it is what it is. It's always going to be like that. It's literally never going to change. It hasn't changed since people in Montreal were literally calling the police on the Zdeno Chara hit on Max Pacioretty in 2000 whatever. So it's never going to stop happening up there. So you just got to bite your lip and grin and bear it and get through it. So it is what it is when you play that team.
Yep. But on to brighter days, brighter games. You got the game in Belleville, and we'll talk about Quentin Burns real quick. So the game in Belleville, they win 5-3. My overall take, this is a kind of game, and you always try to find the little victories within the big victory, right? And so you go up 5-2 heading into the third, and really, I mean, you look at the shots. Belleville 15 shots to Springfield's 1 in the third, and that's a game they still able to come away with the victory. So, Will Cranley, I think, had to come up big in that third period. Belleville was pushing. You would have liked to see some, again, like when you're playing with a 3-goal lead, you can play a little differently, but you still, you got to be careful with, those trap games. Belleville gets one, it gets a little bit closer, and they get another, right? What if another one squeaks by? And now all of a sudden you're panicking and you have no sort of offensive momentum. So it didn't look that pretty, but still glad to see them do what needed to get done in Belleville, hanging on for the victory there. I think big goals by Dylan Peterson, shorthanded goals, too short. I've never seen that. 2 shorthanded goals
back to back
in the first period. I've never seen that before. So just awesome. But real quick, let's talk about Quentin Burns. And I'm glad you mentioned it, right? So he gets called for the high sticking and roughing in that first period, and then comes out early in the second period to have that fight with our old friend Keenan Washcrack. I thought that was actually a great scrap. The more I see Quentin Burns play, the more I love watching him. Great player. I do think at times, and it was clear in the first period, a bit undisciplined with the high stick and the rough. But you understand it. Him and Washcrack, they have the matching roughing late in the first period, and they come out. I'm guessing it was their first shift in the second, and they're like, all right, let's finish it. So I'll let that one slide a little bit as far as just, you're in the box 3 times in one game, never a good thing. I kind of get this one a little bit. But yeah, I love watching Quentin Burns play. I think Chris Wagner has more than stepped up wearing the C and is not shying away at all from the spotlight that brings wearing the C. He picks up the assist with Dylan Dubé, the assist on Kaskamaki's goal. So overall, I'm with you. I think it was a good weekend. It was points in poutine, and can't complain about that.
I do think, I know there's been a bit of a transition, but I got to admit, I don't know where this team would be without, because I know we're going to get to our eventually our season end, accolades. And I can't imagine where this team would be on the back end if it wasn't for the play of Marc-Andre Gaudet and Quentin Burns, because those are 2 guys that I don't think we were planning on relying on very much. And they are in the rotation and not coming out. And so that, when you're able to put a guy like Leo Loof sort of on the back burner, and I'll say the same thing for Michael Bushinger, to be honest, who I think has been really, really good. I think he's, especially the last month or so, I think he's been really, really good in the back end. And so that's what you're going to need. That's what the playoffs are going to bring. You can't have 6 defensemen. You need to have 8 that you can rely on, and they do. And that doesn't even include Wyatt Newpower, who I'm still not really sure what I'm going to get, but I'm excited. I hope he's playing Wednesday night, because I'd like to kind of keep an eye on it and sort of watch him with my own eyes up close. So yeah, I think they're in a good spot. I also I don't think Belleville's that good. I don't mean to put them down, but I'm not sure how good that team is.
If I'm going to put, I don't think they were, I think they were middle of the road in the standings. Actually, not so much. 63 points, 24-30. So, I'm sorry, 63 games played, 57 points. We have 58. So from a standing standpoint, and we don't watch Belleville, we don't break them down. from a standings standpoint, they're similar to Springfield. So it's good when you see the teams that are your quote unquote equal in the standings and you can kind of lay it to them early. I think that's a good sign for Springfield. And look, if they can back into the playoffs and sneak in, not going to be a team I would want to face because the potential, we've always felt the potential is there, could be there. And with common opponents, teams that you see a lot within the division, you never know what can happen.
Especially if you're Providence, who I don't think likes playing us very much. So that would be fascinating.
Why would they?
One other thing, and you did kind of touch on it. Well, two other things real quick. Dylan Peterson, don't let him get hot. I know I've said that about Zach Dean. Don't let Dylan Peterson get hot, whatever you do. And I think it's really time for people to wake up and recognize what Koskamaki and Wagner are starting to do shorthanded. They've done it all year. I don't know what the numbers are in terms of who's got the most shorthanded goals, most shorthanded assists, but I would imagine those two are right there, both of them. I've never seen a shorthanded duo do what they've been able to do. Another shorty in that game. They just get it. They know where each other are going to be, and they know how they have that killer instinct to get the finishing touch down a guy, and the coach trusts that. And that is huge. That's the kind of thing that literally will keep a coach up at night. Yeah. How am I you get a power, you get a power play and you're like, oh no, like, what are we going to do now? Like, that's rare. And so I think that that needs to be mentioned and highlighted how good these two have been shorthanded.
Yeah. And about Koskamaki, when I was talking to the Blues fan forum guys, and they were honest, and Koskamaki struggled a little bit up in St. Louis, but I have been so impressed with Koskamaki here in the AHL. I think from a development standpoint, I think he has taken the next step this year where at times, and the consistency is what you're missing, but at times Koskamaki is the best player on the ice. And to your point, like shorthanded, some of the things he's made, it's 5-on-5 as well, but there are shifts, there are periods, there are times when you're like, he's the best player right now on the ice. So you see it, it's there. I think if he continues to develop, if I were to take a guess and sort of read into the future, he probably starts down here. But if he gets a call up and he can play with his sense of momentum or just sort of his sense of confidence, I think he's a player we don't see all year next year in the AHL. So I'm with you. Koskamaki, in my opinion, has been great, and agreed again with Marc-Andre Gaudette and Quentin Burns, two guys who neither one of us really had penciled in as a roster guy to start the year. We didn't, and neither one of them started with the team. But since they've had the opportunity, they are the definition of making it impossible for a coach to take you out. They are what exactly I mean. When I say that, that's what I mean. Play like Marc-Andre Gaudette. Play like Quentin Burns. It is impossible to take them out of the lineup. And in fact, I'm no slight to any player, but they've made it difficult to keep other players on the roster because they take playing time away from them. And so, I think they absolutely have been bright shining lights in sort of this up and down, yucky at times season.
I say in radio, when I worked in radio, like, do whatever you can to make yourself as unfireable as possible, because everybody gets fired. It's the same kind of idea. It's like killing penalties will get you an NHL job. Like, being good at killing penalties, you could not put up the points as much, but if you're out there and you're dominating the penalty kill, you will play in the NHL. Yeah. Sometimes that's all you need. Yeah. And so that, despite everything else with him, because he has the skill and he has the senses, he's wicked smart on the ice. Holy smokes. But man, if you can just be out there and be a menace on the PK, that in and of itself is going to get you promoted and keep you in the league. So agreed. I think you're right. I think it's only a matter of time with Koskamaki, and I'm curious to see what the offseason brings for St. Louis in terms of are they making moves to fill out the roster, or are they going to make moves to say, well, this roster spot's going to be taken by so-and-so down in Springfield. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when they were signing like Alex Texier, in the offseason. I'm going, why? What are you doing? Why? What are you doing that for? What are you bringing that guy in? And of course, it didn't work out, and I was right. But this is one of those things where you're like, I hope that they're looking at the roster and planning for some of these guys to be in St. Louis. As much as I'd like them here, some of them really deserve to be up there. And I would say the same thing about Dylan Peterson. From what I hear, the people of St. Louis are ready for Dylan Peterson, and I don't think he's that far off from being a full-time NHL player. I think he's about as ready as it can get sometimes. So keep your eye on that player as well. Thankfully, I don't mean this as a slight to St. Louis, but thankfully they're not like in the middle of a playoff push. They might be eventually. They've been playing good hockey, but I can see some of our guys leaving, becoming dark aces in a month from now. If that were the case, Dylan Peterson, Koskamaki, to me, would hands down be two of them. Dylan Dubé would probably not be number 3. Yeah, because he's been exceptional since we got him down here as well. Cool. So we do have plenty more to get to as well. I can't believe I left my phone upstairs. What?
I got the fan rants.
All right, cool. Come on, Steve. But I do want to thank our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning in Amherst. With its unique location set in the center of Amherst, allowing for clients and groups to enjoy the social constructs of city life. Founder Teresa Dooley-Smith is a leader within the speech and language community, continuing to find innovative ways to meet the needs of all individuals. For more information, you can visit tdsspeech.com. You can call them at 413-835-0735, or, of course, Google them. It always works. By the fine folks at MassCon United Training Center. I was there yesterday, actually. We had the old baseball, they're not tryouts, but they're whatever.
Evaluations.
So I was at MassCon United Training Center there yesterday. They had a hockey game going on. They had field hockey going on. They had the baseball thing going on. It's just, there's so much stuff there. There's such a multi-functional facility. It's really impressive if you've never been. So it's your one-stop facility for all your training needs, regardless of your talent level. MCU has room for you to improve your craft. Training for soccer, lacrosse, baseball, golf, hockey, floor hockey, field hockey. Guys are walking around there with golf clubs. Lacrosse, baseball, field hockey, weight training, agility. They kind of got it all. It's really, really a multifunctional space. If you're looking for a birthday party where the kids can be active, have fun, and just be kids, you can give them a call. It's a good time. 413-301-6040 for more information and availabilities, or you can visit mcutrainingcenter.com. And of course, by our friends at Landscaping That Fits. Now, a quick sidebar. I always kind of laugh when I see like orchestras, like the Boston Pops, and they're playing the Star Spangled Banner. And you look at these people in this band, these insanely talented musicians, and you watch them turning the pages of their sheet music. And I'm like, it's the Star Spangled Banner, you're in the Boston Pops. Like, do you really need the sheet music? Like, shouldn't you kind of have that one up in the old noggin already, muscle memory? And then I started PA announcing, and I'm like, if somebody took away my script, I don't know how well I'd do. Like, I've been doing the same reads forever. And if you took away, I could probably get through them, but I'd be like, oh crap, what's my teddy bear toss, second period, pucks are behind section 1, I think. Same goes now for Landscaping That Fits, because I read that one off my phone, and I've read it a whole bunch of times, and now I don't have my phone, and now I feel like I'm going to screw this up. So Rob, I apologize, but Landscaping That Fits, they are wonderful, and SRG10 is the promo code to get 10% off of your fertilizing needs for the entire year of 2026. I don't know about anybody else. I've been doing some spring cleaning out there, picking up sticks. I got sticks all over the place. And it's only a matter of time until Rob comes knocking at my door ready to apply the first application. And he's been a home run. My yard looked so good last year, and it's going to look great again thanks to Rob. Landscapingthatfits.com. Use the promo code SRG10. You can give him a call. But again, I've read the number a zillion times, and now it's not in front of me. I don't remember what it is. So just Google him, and Rob would be happy to help you out. 0338, I think it ends. 413 something 0338. Sorry, Rob. Oh, such a jackass. But yes, big thank you to all of our sponsors, including Landscaping That Fits.
There you go. All right, so let's get into some fan rants, and then
real quick. 413-847-0338. I gotta get in there. 847-0338. Sorry.
There you go. No, you're good. So let's get into some fan rants, and then we'll kind of talk about the upcoming games. We're going to let the GOAT Springfield final, Joel Hofer versus Matthew Pekka. We're going to let this simmer for another week. I'm still getting votes on both Facebook and Instagram. They're kind of trickling in. We're getting a lot of traffic on your post of the goalie fight. So we've noticed through our socials, we're getting more likes, more subscribes, more follows. So we're going to kind of let that one simmer one more week. We will announce the winner next week's episode.
And real quick, I just want to say thank you to the people. You guys keep sharing our posts, and like that video on Facebook has 60,000 views. Our TikTok account is doing really well. People are following us. So if you're not following us, feel free. But really, thank you. Me and Matt both kind of work our tails off to make sure our social looks good. And those graphics that Matt builds every year, they take time and effort and energy. And so for you guys to share it and get involved, right? We don't do that for our own health. We do it for you guys. And then you guys help us out by sharing, commenting, liking, interacting. So thank you to you guys for helping us out. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours.
Absolutely. So really a lot of the fan rants here, it was, I think this is going to be most of our conversation will be playoff chances and things like that. But from fan rants, we've got Trini and Lindsay. Great, happy with the games that we had this weekend. They thought they played well. Lindsay wants to know what the chances are we make the playoffs at this point. She's curious. Now, look, I'm not a math guy.
Oh, I was going to say, please don't make me
don't
do math.
ask. I'm not going to give you a percentage because I'd make one up. Right now, I see it as 50-50. You're either in or you're not.
Good math, man. Nailed
it. But Lindsay, I'm going to break things down for you a little bit, and let's kind of talk through this. And Steve, you chime in here too. The 12 games remaining. Right now, the Thunderbirds are in 7th, 2 points out of the playoff spot. You're 2 points behind Lehigh Valley. Of your remaining games, we got 8 home, if I did my math correctly, 4 away, 3 versus Provi, 3 versus Hartford, 2 against Lehigh Valley, 1 against Hartford, and then your other 2 games are Syracuse and Rochester. The schedule, in my opinion, it's a favorable schedule. When you're playing twice as many home games as away games, and you're 2 points out of the playoffs, that's favorable. I also look at it as you have 9 games within your division. 3 of them against the team that you should beat. 6 of them are against teams, Providence, Lehigh Valley, and Hershey, above you. So it's up to you. If you don't make the playoffs, Springfield Thunderbirds, you're not a playoff team. It just comes down to that, right? So I kind of like it. I look at this part of the season based on how the standings are. You are in the playoffs now. If you want that extra season playoff, you got to earn it, and it's yours if you want it. And that's kind of how I look at it. I wish I could look at things a little bit more analytically and plug in an algorithm and give you an actual percentage. But my brain doesn't work that way. I'm not good with numbers. So that's how I look at it. You've got 8 home games. Of your 4 away games, if you split them, if you went 2-2 in those 4 and then played and took care of business at home, I say you're in the playoffs. Based on the teams we're playing, you beat Lehigh Valley. You got 1 home, 1 away. If you beat them, you take care of Lehigh Valley, they're up. That ups your chances, right? You've got to beat Hartford. You end the season in a home and home with Hartford Friday. You're in Hartford. Last game of the season, Hartford comes to Springfield. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to that last week, that Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Lehigh Valley, Hartford. And if you tell me you got 3 games left, you got to win 2 of them to make the playoffs, and it's Lehigh Valley, Hartford. Again, it's just like, if you don't make the playoffs, it's because you weren't a player. No excuses. You were not a playoff team. You're not good enough.
I mean, I hope it even doesn't even come down to that, because whether or not Hartford's in the playoffs, they're going to want to pee in your pool, right? They're going to want to spoil your good time. So I think you nailed it. And by the way, I'm really glad we're not just punching it into a computer and getting an algorithm, because I hate that. I despise that. The algorithm doesn't take into account the time of the year, or desperation, or human emotion, or who's on a hot streak and who's not on a hot streak. It doesn't think about any of that stuff. It just beep, beep, boop, boop. That's all it does. And I hate that, because I don't think it's accurate. So you're right. I'm glad that they're in the situation they are, because we're going to learn something.
Mm-hmm.
And my hope is that, and what I honestly, and maybe I'm being a little bit of wishful thinking, I think that I'm glad that they have the coach they have.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Steve Ott is going to be the kind of guy to say kind of what we're saying. This is up to you guys. It's not up to you. You don't even have to, get into the locker room after a game and pull out your phone and check out the standings. Who won? Did Hartford win? Did Leah? No, let's not even do that. Let's just go out and take care of business. Let's go take care of business. And then we don't even have to deal with that. And then come the last 3 games of the season, we're kind of resting guys, because we're already in.
Yeah.
So I think that they have a real opportunity here to, now you're going to have to steal some games. You're going to have to steal points at least. You're going to have to steal points from Providence. You're going to have to steal points in some of these games that you're not going to win them all. But it is interesting that the standings, the bottom of the standings are as sort of stacked as they are and bunched up as they are. One of these teams needs to emerge.
Yeah.
And they need to, because I don't want this to be a who wants to lose it more. It needs to be somebody that says, nope, we're going to go on a 6-game heater and make our statement and make this playoffs. And I think Springfield has the opportunity to do that just as much as any other team does. Lehigh Valley, to me, looks like they're falling down. Bridgeport looks like they're heading up. They're trending up. Hartford looks like they're trending down. So what's it going to be? And it shows me something that they had a not so great outing in Laval. They had from what I was told, was a miserable bus ride after the Laval game to Belleville. And what do they do with it? They went and dropped five goals and had 1 shot on goal in the third, because they didn't even need to, because do I like 1 shot in the third? No.
Yeah.
Would I have liked them to score 2 more and make it 7-2? Yes. But baby steps here. And for them to come out and sort of ball out with their third goalie, no offense to Will, but if I'm laying you guys out, you're 3.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to put that forward with, again, 2 shorthanded goals, right? Nothing worse. I keep saying it. In November, if you start the game with 2 bad penalties, you're down 2-0 because you gave up 2 power play goals. Instead, you get 2 bad penalties. What do? You go score 2 shorties. Yeah. That's the difference between this team now and in November. And that's what matters. And that's what makes winning teams winning hockey. And so if you can continue this and you can trust in yourself, believe in the system, trust the process, I see no reason why they can't go on a heater here and make it no doubt that they're in the playoffs.
Agreed. Well, and you look at these numbers too, and obviously, when you look at teams' last 10, I think it does give you a nice understanding of where they are right now. Now, obviously, those numbers will change within the next 2 weeks, but it still tells you where they're at now. And to your point, you're absolutely right. Hershey, 3-6.
Oof.
3-6-1.
Oh, Lehigh Valley too, huh?
Lehigh Valley, 3-6-1. Springfield, 5-3-2. You look at the teams that they're playing in the north, Syracuse and Rochester. Syracuse trending up. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. And then you have Rochester 2-7-1 over their last 10. Again, those numbers can change in the next 2 weeks, but it shows you that it's the tune of this podcast over the next few episodes is either going to be we're a playoff team or we're not. And it's not going to be because Hartford lost to Bridgeport and that knocked us out of the playoffs. Nope. It's nothing but looking yourself in the mirror. And I love that. I love that about sport.
Me too.
I respect the spoiler, the team that plays spoiler. And I 100% agree with you. Hartford, it will make their season.
Yep.
If they have 3 games left with Springfield, if they win 2 of them and it prevents us to be in the playoffs, they would love that. And we would deserve it because we couldn't take care of business.
Correct. So
right now, the Thunderbirds, you have no players on the injury list except for Anthony Kerr, but he's been out all season.
He's not coming back this year.
Yeah, you've got a healthy, I'm knocking on wood, right now you have a healthy roster. You've got reinforcements coming up in Felix Trudeau. You've got a solid 3 goalie rotation. You want to be in the playoffs, be a playoff team. And you've got 2 weeks to kind of get or whatever, a month to get it done. And if it doesn't get done, it's on you.
It's exciting. It is exciting. Again, I don't have the fan rants in front of me, Matt. I apologize.
So really the fan rant was kind of going back and forth with people. They're out, they're in, they're out, they're in. That was most of the fan rants. I do want to, Trini wants to let everybody know her sled hockey team, the T-Birds being away this week. Their sled hockey team does have some games this weekend. They're playing over at Amelia Park. She is on the blue team, which plays Friday, the 27th at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. I would not expect anybody to stay in between those games, but they're games all afternoon if you want to watch. Her team is also playing Saturday at 10:50, as well as Sunday afternoon. Well, if they make the third place, the playoffs, that's Sunday. But you can go onto our social media. You can go onto our Facebook to see the full schedule. She did post it on there. But Trini, good luck this weekend. Your sled hockey team is competing in the Amelia Park tournament. So good luck to you and all of your sled hockey teammates. We're rooting for you.
Good luck, Katrina. Real quick, Matt, you mentioned the T-Birds being out of town this past weekend. Just something real quick. I know that we are all fans of these guys, and I know we see them on the ice. Occasionally we see them out. I'm not going to mention names, but I just happened to go to Disney on Ice and be sitting in the exact same section as 3 Thunderbirds players with their families. I can tell you that they got in about 6 a.m. Sunday from Belleville. And I wish all of you fans could just see how real these people are. They are just like you and I. They are dads. They are husbands. They are sons. And to see them with the little kids on their lap watching Moana or Frozen, and them having to come back with cotton candy and popcorn just like we do, and them having to hold the hand of the little one who's and take him to the bathroom because he's got to go pee pee. The same stuff that we deal with, these guys do too. And so when we look at these players, we just see them as numbers on the ice and stats on a stat sheet. I think that's so important to see these guys as humans. I think we all sort of need that reminder every now and then of the fact that they're not just hockey players, they're humans too. And so for me, that was refreshing. I kind of need that every now and then. Yeah. It was kind of like when I saw Pekka at a restaurant over the summer, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's got a wife and kids and a family, and he's got to chase his little one around when it runs out of the restaurant, like all the same stuff that we all have to do. It was worth it to see. And I wish all of our listeners were sitting in the same section, just watching these guys without bothering them, watching them be people. Actual people and not just hockey players. So that was really, really heartwarming to see. It was cool. And they all seem like have wonderful families and they're good dads. And I love that for them. So just a sidebar.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So this might actually be one of our first episodes in a while, under an hour. That's all we got for the fan rants. Let's talk a little bit about this upcoming week. Big game this Wednesday in the Thunderdome tonight, right? We're releasing it on a Wednesday tonight. Yep. You're playing Providence. I agree with you on probably since you've looked at it. James Higgins is now on the Providence.
Oh, he is.
Roster.
Okay.
I 100% would anticipate a loaded, stacked Providence team in Springfield. This is what my assumption. I'm going to assume you're going to see all hands on deck. DiPietro in goal.
There he is, number 12. Yeah.
I think I agree with you. I think Higgins will find his way in the lineup. I would expect to see everyone, Merkelov, Lysell, Farinacci, all like the whole. I mean, you're going to see their playoff roster. I don't know if you will see it on Sunday in Providence. I'm anticipating you're going to get their best effort in Springfield. Again, I don't know. I base that off of what you did Springfield to them in Providence, right? The last time you faced them, you beat them. So now it's a little bit of a revenge kind of game. And when you are a team not necessarily playing for anything super meaningful, when you find these artificial things to play for, like revenge, that's a real thing. You give them the opportunity to do it. And based on how Wednesday's game would go, in my opinion, that would dictate a little bit how I taper off the end of the season. But I think the worst thing any team could do in any sport, like I hate it in football, we see it all the time. Teams lock up a playoff and they take like 3 weeks kind of off, and you get a bye week and you come off rusty. Like, I think your guys got to play. And maybe we talked about this last year with the T-Birds making their playoff run. You still have to play guys. Maybe you cut their minutes, and maybe you give a third and a fourth line guy a little bit more minutes, but you're still going to play your top liners. They need to play. So does that mean Higgins is going to see a lot of time here down the stretch of the regular season, and then you kind of table him in the playoffs, depending how he's playing? That probably what I would imagine happening.
Or he blows the roof off and he gets called up.
Or right.
You know.
But so I'm anticipating all hands on deck for the Bruins. I'm anticipating DiPietro in goal, and I anticipate Z in goal on Wednesday. He had the night off Sunday with Romanov backing up Cranley. So I think you're going to see Z and Romanov kind of dressing for this game tonight, Wednesday in the Thunderdome. And then, excuse me.
Playoff hockey tonight is what you're going to
get. And that's it.
It's going to be a playoff hockey game tonight. It's going to be awesome.
And then you've got your 2 away games, at Lehigh Valley, at Providence, Friday and Sunday. At least there is a travel day in between on Saturday. So I think that is a good thing. Lehigh Valley, again, this is a team that over the last few games has been struggling. But you're going to put, if you're Lehigh Valley, you also are in the same kind of boat where it's like, hey, we're playing playoff hockey too. If Lehigh Valley doesn't get in, they have no one to look in the mirror but themselves also. So I'm anticipating kind of all hands on deck there for them. You're going to get their best shot. And again, playoff hockey. I've always said it. I always feel like with Lehigh Valley, you can expect some fireworks, some hands being thrown. I wouldn't be surprised if that is our first opportunity to see Felix Trudeau, not necessarily in a fight, but I'm not sure if he's going to play against Providence, but put him in against Lehigh Valley on the road, third, fourth line minute kind of thing. You get a little bit of practice under your belt. I think if you're Providence, you can afford to put a guy in there with no chemistry and just play. For Springfield, I don't know. I kind of feel you need all 12 guys playing with chemistry, at least some bit of chemistry. So don't rush Trudeau in on tonight. If he's in, I trust the coaching staff, but I'm fine if he makes his debut in Lehigh Valley.
For sure. And, I think for Lehigh Valley, really ever since their captain, Garrett Wilson, got called up to Philly, who I don't think I don't know if he's been called up before, but it's been a long time since he's been in the NHL. So quite honestly, congratulations to Garrett Wilson for getting that call up, a guy who's always treated us with kindness and respect. So I have nothing bad to say about him. I know he's a pain on the ice, and that's his game, and I kind of like that about his game. But he is a super nice guy, and it's like ever since they did that, and then they did the trade with Providence, and they got Brett Harrison and Jackson Edward. It just feels like they can't. I don't know. It's like they're like a lost puppy. You know what I mean? And so you need to keep them there. You need to make sure that at the end of this weekend, they're scratching their head even more than they are right now. You got a team that's like that, and you got to play Providence the next night. You better be able to really stomp on them and be a difference maker. So I think that's what's going to happen. I'm excited to watch those 2 games this weekend from the comfort of my couch.
That's it. Yes. Under a blanket, even maybe.
Oh my goodness.
I don't mind.
2 dogs snuggling on me. It's the best.
You got any predictions? You got any hot takes? You got any predictions? I'm putting you on the spot. We didn't talk about this pre-show, but
no, I would expect. Here's what I got from a prediction standpoint. I expect a big weekend from Juraj Pekarczyk. On a weekend, I mean, this 3 games here. I want to see the power play really start. You don't have to score, but I want to see it look good. And I don't see why they can't. There's 6 points up for grabs. I don't see why they can't take 4, 3 at the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are. I've talked about this. They are starting to drag teams. It's funny. I always text you when drag them. I always text Matt, drag them. Providence. If it's 3-3 with 5.5 minutes left, drag them to overtime at the worst. If you can't get that go-ahead goal, drag them to overtime and get the point. They don't need the point. You need the point. Drag them to overtime. So, I think there is a bit of that. And I think Providence, like you said, Providence wants to win in regulation because I don't think they want any part of us in the playoffs.
I agree.
I said that last week, but I bet they're like, if they had their druthers, they would much rather play Bridgeport, Lehigh Valley, anybody but us. So that is sort of, I guess it's a lot I just threw at you, but that's some things about the weekend that I'm anticipating.
Yeah, I'm anticipating. I'd love to see a big weekend in the box score from Julien Gauthier. That's sort of a guy I'm highlighting who you see it. And I know he's not playing super consistently, but
I think he's banged up.
Yeah, and that's kind of, but I'd love to see it. I think when he's out there, when he's on the ice, I think they're watching his minutes. But, at this point in the season, and all these guys are tough. I'm not trying to claim anybody isn't tough or gutting through injuries. They all are. But
yeah,
Julien Gauthier and Bordelot, I'd like to see him go on a nice little 3-game heater, lighten up.
I really like his game, Bordelot.
Yeah.
I just like his style. I like his tenacious. He's tenacious. Like, I just like his game.
Him and Dylan Dubé, I really have enjoyed watching them play on the ice. And I think from a guy like Dylan Dubé, you are starting to see him kind of find his name in box scores more frequently. Bordelot, not as frequent, but again, you're still enjoying watching him play. It's fun. It's fast. So, maybe those two guys. Those are the two guys I'm circling, Gauthier and Bordelot.
Love it.
French-Canadian action.
I love that. So, yeah, we'll keep our eyes on that. And then Dylan Peters and Zach Dean. I said about both of them, don't let them get hot. Don't let Peterson get hot. Don't let Zach Dean get hot. I'm telling you. So this is the nice thing is we're having these conversations now.
Yeah.
And this is the time of year we're actually having these conversations. It's super exciting. There's so much to be excited about. I really am starting to like this team. I liked the team when the season started and it didn't go well. And now we have, as my daughter says, we made a whole new team. We did. And I like it. I look around. I look around. I'm like, I like this. I like Akil Thomas. I'll take Akil Thomas over Nikki, and I'll take Bordelot all day. And I don't know. Wyatt Newpower. I still, like I said, want to see him with my own eyes. But this is we're in a fun spot. This is why we do what we do, because this is fun.
Yeah.
We do want to give a thank you to TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning in Amherst. They are at tdsspeech.com. By the fine folks at MassCon United Training Center in Agawam, mcutrainingscenter.com. By the fine folks at Landscaping That Fits. Remember SRG 10 to get 10% off of your entire fertilization plan for the month of 2026. That is so much savings. If you're not doing it, you're missing out. Landscapingthatfits.com, promo code SRG10. And as I mentioned earlier, thanks to everybody for liking, sharing. We're up over 500 followers on our Facebook page, which,
love it.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but you guys got to understand, we're like a niche podcast here. Like this isn't Joe Rogan. Like we are a minor league hockey podcast in Western Massachusetts, and yet 500 people have chosen to follow us. I'll take that. That is a W for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for sharing our stuff, liking our stuff. I teach a lot of this stuff about it. It was supposed to be TV radio. Now I'm teaching Facebook and TikTok analytics. But it's an interesting science. And the more you guys help us, we really appreciate it. So thank you to everybody for getting involved in the show.
Yes, we appreciate it. Keep it coming. Next week, be on the lookout where we will announce our greatest T-Bird of all time. Again, there's still time to go on our socials and vote Joel Hofer or Matthew Pekka. Big game tonight in the Thunderdome against Providence, and then 2 big games over the weekend away, Lehigh Valley Friday, Providence on Sunday. Need some points, need some dubs. Got no excuses at the end of the year. Let's go T-Birds.